All right. Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. And there are some disturbing details that have been unfolding over the last couple of days in this DV4D or David case with Celeste Rivas. Now, we heard and we alleged, or we thought basically, when this first came out, we thought that this was a situation that she was in a tow yard and her death was relatively recent to when she was discovered because it was the summer. A lot of people expected the fact that it was hot, her body decomposed at a faster rate, etc., etc. But it turns out that she had been deceased for 4 months prior to her being discovered. There has been so much that has come out in these most recent medical examiner reports. There has been a lot that's come out from the prosecution team, the detectives, and so much more. It is disturbing, to say the least, the details in the gruesome nature in which she was alleged to be unalived, and so much more. So we're going to be going over a few different things in this video. I'm going to go over some of the recent stuff that came out in the medical examiner report. There was a preliminary hearing today that they did, which it was supposed to be a prelim hearing, and it was more or less like a status conference. The actual prelim is going to be moved to May 1st, I believe, but they're gonna have like a touch base type of thing on the 28th or the 29th, one of those. So there are a lot of moving parts that has been revealed. If you guys don't know, there was a tattoo that she was alleged to have on her finger when she was dealing with him. That was something that I shared on my channel way back when. And there is allegations. Let me pull this up for you guys. One second. But we're going to go through things piece by piece. So do you guys remember when we talked about this tattoo that she had on her ring finger that said David? Well, when her body was discovered, this tattoo and this finger was missing. Okay? He is alleged to have cut off the finger and the evidence of a tattoo stating his name, because clearly he's trying to get her to not be able to be identified, and so much more. So we're going to go over this medical report. We're going to go over these details where her finger was cut off, and we're going to go over how I was under the impression that there was one long grand jury. And it turns out that they held 3 separate grand juries. One grand jury was like an investigative research type of grand jury. And then they had 2 other grand juries after that. Now, it is also important to note that out of 3 grand juries that they had, not one of them came back with an indictment for them to be able to hold him, that they then had to revert to other means to get a DA to file like whatever they needed so that they can hold them on probable cause. So there are going to be a lot of things that may seem super incriminating, but wasn't incriminating enough for the grand jury to indict on 3 different grand juries. That's something that's going to be interesting. Now, in addition to that, they checked out his cell phone. And when they checked out his cell phone, he had all of these CP things on there. So if you guys don't know what CP is, it's, you know, the videos that are you know, explicit, the nature being subjects who are way, way, way young, you know, in there. So he had a lot of footage or things in his phone that contain underage stuff, pictures, videos, those things like that. Now, whether it was Celeste on these videos, they did not disclose that. Whether or not it was stuff that he got on the dark web or stuff that he recorded himself, They also did not disclose that. But what they did disclose at one of his hearings was that there was 40 terabytes of evidence, all right? And they are ready to go according to both sides. Now, basically what happens in these cases is the prosecution, you know, they set forth and they say, yeah, we're ready to go. And a lot of times the defense will request a speedy trial because it gives the prosecution less time to prepare, right? So it looks like they might be heading in that direction, but they have not waived the speedy trial yet, and they have not decided whether or not it is going to be a speedy trial for sure. That's going to be determined on May 1st. So we're going to go over several different things, but I did not cover when he had his first hearing. So let's look over that hearing, and then we will go down the rabbit hole with more information. All right, let me pull this up.
Calling People versus David Anthony Burke. That's case number 26 CJC F02399.
Good morning or good afternoon, Your Honor. Blair Burke, Marilyn Bednarski, and Regina Peter on behalf of our client, David Burke, who's in custody.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Burke.
Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman for the people, Your Honor.
Thank you. And counsel, on behalf of your client, do you waive formal reading of the complaint, advisement of rights, including armed forces and veterans' rights, enter a plea of not guilty, denying any and all special allegations, enhancements, and priors?
Yes, Your Honor.
And requesting a preliminary hearing within the period?
Yes, Your Honor. From the media reports, apparently there have been 4 months of secret grand jury proceedings. We believe that Mr. Burke is entitled at the earliest opportunity to an open preliminary hearing and the proceedings not be done in secret. So we are asking for a preliminary hearing to be set at the earliest possible date on the 10th day. Your Honor, we believe the actual evidence will show David Burke.
All right, so as you can see, they were like, listen, we need this to hurry up and we need it fast. So this video right here that you have was a few days ago, and they set the first date for today. Now, when the prosecution came in, they are alleging that today is the anniversary of her death. So they're alleging that she passed away in April of last year.
Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death. And we would like to be able to have the evidence come into the light of day at the earliest opportunity in order to establish that. We're asking for April 23rd as a 3 of 10, Your Honor.
Anything from the people?
We'll be very happy to put on the evidence that we've collected in this case over the last several months.
Thank you. So the matter will be set clear.
And she basically gave that to, oh girl, we're more than ready. Okay. She swung that hair back and she's like, oh, yeah. You want to go the 23rd, which is today? Yeah, we'll be ready for sure.
Not guilty has been entered on behalf of Mr. Burke. The matter will be set in Department 105. The matter is ordered assigned to Judge Charlene Almeida in Department 105 for all purposes by the judge of the supervising judge of criminal.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And so another thing to note before we go any further, as you hear what she just said, she set the matter in front of a different judge, right? So his proceedings going forward is not in front of her where there's cameras and we're able to see him behind the screen. the matter got set in front of a different judge who made a ruling that there will be no cameras. So when I originally saw this first initial hearing and I saw that they had cameras in the courtroom, I'm like, hey, we're going to have front row seats and everything like that. Well, it turns out that the new judge that this matter was set forth in front of, they said no cameras. So the only way that we are going to know what's going on is if YouTubers cover it or the legacy media cover it and give a recap and so on and so forth like that. Let's continue.
If I may just put on the record, we have, as soon as the people arrive, delivered a informal discovery request consistent with Penal Code Section 1054. We have been given almost no discovery thus far. We received a 3-page follow-up report, no autopsy report, and a copy of the complaint. And we would ask the people respectfully to produce discovery at the earliest opportunity.
Your Honor, as I've indicated to counsel, there's approximately 40 terabytes of discovery in this case. Moreover, in order to...
All right. So as you heard her, she said that there is 40 terabytes. Do you know how much it takes to fill up 1 terabyte? She said that they have 40 terabytes. 40 terabytes. Let's bring that back.
At the earliest opportunity.
Your Honor, as I've indicated to counsel, there's approximately 40 terabytes of discovery in this case. Moreover, in order to obtain the transcripts from a grand jury investigation, counsel has to file a motion. She knows the way the system works. I'm not able to gather those. They have to be provided after the court orders them released because it was an investigation. Second of all, if counsel plans on going to a preliminary hearing within the 10 days, it is unlikely that there will be very much discovery provided within that period, given the voluminous nature and how long it's going to take to copy onto drives. In addition to that, the coroner's report was sealed in this case in order to prevent it from hampering truthful testimony from witnesses that testified at the grand jury. So an order will also have to be obtained in order to get the coroner's department, which is now the medical examiner's department, to release those materials.
Your Honor, it's surprising news given the district attorney's office held a press conference this morning where they discussed the cause of death, apparently under seal and not released by the coroner's office, as did the robbery homicide unit to the press. So we would again reiterate, we believe that Mr. Burke is entitled to discovery. We have served the people with notice. They have 15 days to produce discovery in this case. We would ask that they do that in conscientious earnestness and as quickly as possible.
I'd ask the court to make an order today. We'll take a copy of the minute order ordering the Department of Medical Examiner to release their coroner's report in this case.
All right. So there you go. They basically set forth the day for the hearing to be today. They had a hearing today, and that is where they disclosed that not only did they have one grand jury, they had 3 grand juries that were held in this case. They also found out that he had child nature content in his phone on a voluminous amount, like a large amount of it on his phone, and so on and so forth. Now, I was watching a video from Law and Crime, and that's where I got the scoop that they are not going to have cameras. And there was a media person who basically requested that this be something that is not hidden from the public. And I agree. I think that certain cases like this that are a big public interest, I think that they should have cameras available. Let me show you guys sidebar where they were basically talking about this and talking about how there won't be any cameras and some of the updates that she was able to obtain from the hearing.
Of the typing. Just the phrase significant amount of child pornography was enough to raise flags about what may become in this trial.
What about, I read there was something about a wiretap and search warrants?
Exactly. They said that there was a significant amount of evidence collected in a wiretap. There was also 3 different investigative grand juries, one convened in November, one in December, and one in February. The prosecution really trying to convey to the judge how much evidence they have and the difficulty of it to be able to be transferred to the defense that quickly. They did say, however, that they plan on handing the defense tomorrow arrest records, photographic evidence, chemical evidence reports, and DNA evidence reports.
Wait a second. Let's just take a step back here. We were debating whether or not there was a grand jury that was going to be investigating this case, right? Locking in witness testimony, gathering evidence, that they didn't have the power to indict. That was one thing. Now we're learning there were multiple grand juries that were all in this investigative function. Not one of them had the power to indict.
That's what came out today. The prosecution said specifically investigative grand juries without the power to indict.
All right, so I'm going to pause it right there. The fact that they had 3 grand juries and they were not able to get an indictment from a single one, I think that that's going to be extremely significant. I know that the prosecution is appearing confident. They're appearing like, listen, we got 40 terabytes of data. We have this in a bag. We're ready to go. But apparently they were not ready enough for the people to be convinced that he should be charged in this indictment. They had to go another way. I think that that's very significant in how these proceedings are going to carry out, why his defense team may feel as confident as to say that, child, you know, he's innocent of this. Now, again, they are alleging that she was in this vehicle for 4 months, or she was alleged to be deceased for 4 months. Now, Stephen Fisher is one of the people who was hired as a private investigator from the homeowner. Now, he was an independent private investigator. He was hired by the homeowner that David was renting the home. From the very onset of this investigation, he had been uncovering things, finding out things, giving statements, kind of not giving too much, but giving enough to know that this was a very, 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 very like crazy unaliving. Well, he showed text messages on his social media where he's alleging that this was a text message that was sent out the day after she was, or the day of that she was alleged to be unalived. So it says, on April 24th, 2025, just hours after prosecutors alleged that David Anthony Burke killed Celeste Rivers Hernandez, his management held a Withered album release party in Los Angeles, and that started at 8 p.m. David then likely took a red-eye flight to New York afterwards. It says all of his managers were likely in Los Angeles for the party. The house that Celeste was lured to, according to prosecutors, was leased by his management company. So the question is, who knew what and when did they know it? April 23rd and April 24th were not quiet, uneventful days or nights. David had just performed at Coachella. His album was being released and a party was being held in his honor. There were people around him and he was the center of attention. It is difficult to believe he had much time completely unknown. Who knew what and when? I think this is why it was so hard for them to hand down this indictment through these grand juries, because given the evidence in all of the witness accounts, he had eyes on him actively nonstop around these times. He had just done Coachella. He had an album release that he did. He had flew out soon after. So if she passed away, this would bring me to believe that there was other people involved in either helping her unaliving and helping conceal things as well. So will there be other charges brought forth? This is very interesting, but this kind of tells you why it may have been a little tricky with the grand jury. It says, if you attended the party and this brings back any memory of David or others in his immediate circle acting unusually, if you were at the rental house, if you saw Celeste around April 23rd or April 24th, please contact LAPD Robbery Homicide Division. If you're willing to speak with me, I will keep your information confidential, except as required for law enforcement. This is about justice for a 14-year-old. Attached is a message referencing the party held just hours after Celeste was killed. Thank you to those who are coming forward now that David is in custody. So as you can see, this was sent out April 24th, 2025. And this was a blast stating that they were going to be having an album release party. And it says, the host of Withered album release party sent a text blast. David's Withered album release party kicks off in 90 minutes. When you arrive at the 100 Thieves compound, please enter through the parking lot to the left of the building ahead and head to the back, blah, 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 blah. So as you can see, there are several layers. Now, let me go back to Law and Crime, because like I said, it's very interesting that such a high profile case, the judge is deciding not to have cameras. Let me try to go to that timestamp. It has to be around here. Okay, let's go.
It's no stranger to high-profile cases, and the press or supporters of David is unclear.
Mm-hmm. And you're saying it was packed. There was a lot of media. Is this one of those cases where you think it's getting a lot of attention just from people online, streamers? Like, I understand there was even a long line to get in to court today.
Absolutely. This, here we're in Los Angeles. It's no stranger to high profile cases, and the press showed up. There was a line to get in. Literally every single seat in that courtroom was taken. The press cameras were lined up outside waiting for a press conference. That never happened. The prosecution decided not to speak. The defense decided not to speak. But this is going to be heavily watched. There was actually at the very end of the hearing a representative from the news organization asking the judge to reconsider her denial of allowing cameras in the courtroom, reiterating that the judges here seem to have kind of learned the lesson after the OJ case to not allow cameras, and that after so many years, perhaps the OJ case, afraid of letting in cameras, needs to go away, and saying how the public pays for this building and should allow cameras in, but the judge denied it. There will not be cameras allowed in this next hearing or if a trial moves forward.
Wow, no cameras in the preliminary hearing. I personally think that's a mistake, particularly in a case like this, since there's so much speculation, so much rumors. This is a front row to seeing what the evidence is, what evidence the prosecution believes they have. Do they have sufficient probable cause to support these charges? I think that this is one of those cases where the public has a right to view. And
all right. So as you can see, you're going to have to rely on social media commentators or the news. Now, as for me, I'm not going to cover it in person. I'm going to stay home and basically see what Law and Crime reports or see what other people report. I seen that Megan Cunith had posted something. She had went there and stuff like that. So this is going to be similar to the Diddy trial, where you have to rely on people who are going there and giving you their account of what happened. And as you see, this was only a status hearing, and it was a packed house. She said that it was, so many people trying to get in. And, it's only going to get crazier when the actual trial goes there. So unfortunately, I won't be there, but I will keep up with what the latest is in this case. I just made up my mind early on that I'm not doing the David, like, going there, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm just not doing it. But we'll see as things go on. Now, let's go to, let's see. There was a post that Nancy Grace had did where she was wondering why the parents of Celeste have been so silent. Like, normally in these cases, you see that the families are actively looking for justice. They desperately want justice for their loved one. And it seems that people like Stephen Fisher and people on social media are looking and advocating for justice way more than the actual family. Let me play for you guys what Nancy Grace had to say, and then we'll go forward with some more. Hold on one second. Let's see. All right, let's play it.
We, the only ones banging the drum, demanding justice. Brian Fitzgibbons, this is very odd behavior on the parents' part. Never issuing a public plea, never thanking the LAPD for finding their girl, never demanding justice. I'd be laying on the front steps of the courthouse screaming for justice. Nothing. Radio silent. And now an indictment is set to go down, and they're what? What? Where are they?
Yeah, it's incomprehensible, the fact that there hasn't been a large outcry from her family. That being said, there isn't a playbook for these scenarios, but it is a bizarre situation that the media has been standing up for her a lot more than the family.
Why are we the only ones banging the drum, demanding justice? Brian Fitzgibbons, this is very odd behavior on the parents' part.
All right. So she feels as though it is strange and odd that the parents are not visibly out there. The first time that we heard that they made any type of statement was once he got arrested. Now, somebody in the chat said they may be illegal, and that's my guess, honestly, as well, because nothing else makes sense. I feel like in the climate that we're in, that's the only thing that I can guess that could be the cause. Like, they're not possibly, legal, so they're not trying to be like loud and proud. But even if the parents directly are not legal, nobody's in the family is legal. Like, normally they would have like a spokesperson, right? Like, they would have somebody speaking for the parents. Maybe the parents aren't English speakers, so then they'll have like a sister, auntie, cousin, or something like that that speaks out. They don't even have like somebody speaking on behalf of the family neither. So that is kind of odd and an eyebrow raise. But we'll keep on going down the line of evidence. Now, as I was showing you guys, this was a big deal. This ring being, or this finger being cut off is crazy, right? Like, that is insane. Absolutely insane. Let's go through what TMZ reported as it pertains to this case. All right, let me pull up some screenshots where they basically reported about it. Hold on, let me make this smaller. All right. So on TMZ, it says the medical examiner says she was killed by 2 penetrating wounds. It says Celeste Rivas' cause of death has just been revealed, and the medical examiner in Los Angeles says she was killed by multiple penetrating injuries with unspecified objects, and her death was ruled a homicide. So on the screenshot that I have up, it says the Emmy says there are 2-inch penetrating wounds of the torso with smooth edges that may represent sharp force injuries. The wound, 3/4 inch in length and 1.5 inches deep on the upper abdomen, penetrate the liver, and the wound on the left chest, 9/6 of an inch in length and 2 inches deep, penetrates one of the left intercostal spaces with disruption of adjacent ribs, cortical surfaces. So they showed all of her different wounds and things in this report. Let me bring this up. So as you can see, it's a little blurry. So this is the report of all of the different wounds and things. Let me see if I have a more clear, because that's a little blurry. 1 second, y'all. Let me get you one that's a little more clear. Let me pull up. Hold on 1 second. Is this more clear or still blurry? I'm not even sure if YouTube but anyways. All right, so as you can see, this is all of the different wounds and things that were uncovered on the medical examiner. Now, in addition to her eye being gone and her finger being gone, it's just thing after thing that you uncover. So hold on, let me pull this up. All right, so it says, it's interesting that the Emmy uses the word may, which is something the defense will jump on. It should also be noted that the Emmy says that there were multiple superficial linear abrasions on the right dorsal hand. It does not say whether or not these could be defensive wounds. The Emmy also says that her left ring and pinky fingers were amputated, but the body diagram shows that her right finger pointer with the should tattoo was intact. This will also be an interesting issue at trial. The autopsy report says there is presumptive positive and methamphetamine and MDMA, but there was another screening which says that the methamphetamine was inconclusive and MDMA was not detected. The report says Celeste may have had alcohol in her system, but it did not contribute to her death. It says the body was badly decomposed, her head was partially skeletonized, and it had absent of her left eye. Her remains were found in a black body bag and a black trash bag in David's Tesla. All right, so not only was her body in these body bags, her body was also in plastic bags in there, cut up, eye missing, finger missing, and all of these things as well. Insanity. All right, so let me pull this up. Oh wait, no, not that one. All right. It says the medical examiner also confirms that last week a high-ranking source in the Los Angeles Police Department I guess says that her manner of death was by a sharp instrument on April 23rd, and then he waited a couple of weeks to cut her body up and stuff it into bags. He then allegedly kept the bags in his Tesla front trunk for 4 months until they were discovered September 2025 after the car was towed to a tow yard. So, like I said, they're saying that today was the day last year that this was supposed to have gone down. And then the next day, he had his album release party. He had all of these other things going on as well. Let me pull up the other slide. Cops say the state of the body, when found, made it difficult for the medical examiner to figure out the cause and manner of death. The body was severely decomposed. He pled not guilty, and it says that he was charged with 1 count each of murder, continuous SA of a child under the age of 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. So they are also alleging that he basically was trying to hush her up from exposing that he had been dealing with her since she was allegedly barely 13. So it is being alleged that right when she barely turned 13 years old, that he had this situation going with her, and she was about to blow the lid off of everything, and he wanted, hush her up, and this came about. So that is what is being reported as well. It says, let's see, let me see if there's anything else. So going back to Steve Fisher's report, we'll look at some of the things that he posted, but let's look at a clip from an interview that David did. Let's see. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, man. Romantic homicide was just like, I wanted to feel what the other kids were feeling. Like, everybody I knew, well, in middle school that I didn't talk to anymore, everybody had relationships. I didn't have a relationship. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be involved in this or have a heartbreak for myself. So I kind of just like made up these scenarios of myself getting heartbroken and being in love and stuff like that. And I would write songs about things that never happened. And that would just become my life.
Now it's all happening.
4 years, man. Yeah. Played it for her in the car. And she was like, David, this song is too violent. You're talking about killing people in your music? No, not my son. And I was like, wait, I might be on to something. Yeah, man.
All right. There was another video where he was talking about the Bible and things. Now, there's music playing in the background, so I don't know if this is going to flag for copyright, but we'll listen to a little bit of it.
Sin and God's forgiveness, and I'm going to be reading from Romans 7:14, and it goes like this. We know that the law is spiritual, but I am unspiritual.
I should have tried to lower that background noise before. I don't know if that is.
Sold as a slave to sin. I do not understand what I do, because I do what I don't want to do, and I hate what I do. And if I do what I don't want to do, I agree that the law is good. As it is, I am no longer myself who does those things, but the sin living in me. For I know that the good itself does not dwell in me, and that it's the sinfulness.
Okay, I don't know what that song is. I can't even play. I'll try to. We'll revisit that. But anyways, let's go back to Steve Fisher. His page, and let's look through some of the different things that he has posted. He also came up with a timeline. I can't really see the timeline that well, but we'll try to blow it up and everything for you guys. Let me pull it up. So, hold on. All right, so he said, this is a timeline I've put together covering the period just before it is alleged that David killed Celeste. It says, through the time shortly after it is alleged that he dismembered her body. The timeline is based on recovered and deleted social media posts as well as confirmed public media appearances. It will continue to be updated as additional data is compiled. It can be viewed at the link below, and I have also attached several screenshots from the timeline. The sequence appears to show a surge of activity immediately after the alleged murder, followed by a period of relative silence in the days leading up to the alleged dismemberment. On the date it is alleged the dismemberment occurred, they think it happened on May 5th, 2025, and it says a social media post places him in downtown LA around 11 p.m. One of the most significant unanswered questions is, where was Celeste's body between April 23rd and May 5th? The timeline shows that he traveled to New York on April 24th. Within a single day, he would have had to place her body somewhere. He later returned nearly 2 weeks later on May 5th. On May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, he posted from downtown Los Angeles. A chow mein truck visible in the background can be independently confirmed to have been operating in that area on the date. So let's go to his link where he puts together this timeline of events. Let me make this smaller because he basically compiled different things that he believes happened before and after. So he says on April 24th, there is no publicly reported activity. David's Coachella Weekend 2 set ended the prior day in India, California. It says on April 22nd, he had a brand lab announcement that he was going to have this pop-up event in NYC. April 23rd is the date that the prosecutors allege Celeste Rivas Hernandez arrived the evening of April 23rd at David's rented Hollywood Hills home and was last heard from on or about this date. He had the Withered World Tour tickets pre-sale happen on this day. And it says on TikTok, he posted, your prayers have been answered. It's finally here, where he was promoting his album release. Now, the very next day, he says that the Withered World Tour tickets officially went on sale. And on Instagram, around 11:38 Pacific time, he basically promoted a reel that said, my Withered World Tour is now officially on sale. On Twitch on April 24th, he did a stream on Twitch where he captioned it, put the album in the bag, bruh. And it says he allegedly seems to be streaming from what appeared to be the interior of the home that he was renting ahead of the album release. So they have a screenshot from his Twitch stream. So he allegedly unalived her on the 23rd. They're saying that today, like I said, was the anniversary of that. And then he continued on with his life per usual. He went and still promoted his album, went live on Twitch, and went through business per usual. So this is where it shows the stream and then how he had it titled, put the album in the bag, bruh. So also on April 24th, there is this text where they sent out this text blast to people about his album release party. And then it says he traveled from LA to New York overnight on a red eye for this pop-up event. On April 25th of 2025, his Withered Dark Room album was released, and it debuted at number 13 on the Billboard 200. He had a live band lab pop-up day one in Union Square, and this was an in-person fan meet and greet, and it says that there was an Afterlife song performed live for the first time at Band Lab pop-up, and it says that he used, I guess, an acoustic set. David visibly breaks down crying mid-song. So this is a screenshot from the video of him performing the song where he breaks down crying. Let me see if I can pull up this video. Let's see. Let's see if we can find this video. 1 second, y'all. Let's do our Googles. Let's see if we can find that and see him break down the day after. Hold on 1 second. I'm going live. I'm going through this series of things with y'all. Okay. All right, found it. All right. So let's bring this up. All right, so it says, creepy. After what we know now, David cries performing Afterlife 2 days after Celeste Rivas' death. So let's hit play. All right, we gotta pause it. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, I gotta keep pausing it, y'all. Copyright reasons. But I'm watching this live with y'all to see when he breaks down and all of those things. Sorry, I know it's annoying. But I buy all I can as I try. All right, pause it right there. Let me pause that and let me look up what are the lyrics to his Afterlife song. Afterlife lyrics. All right, so let me pull up the lyrics for the song so we can see what he's feeling and what he's saying, because I can't really tell. But let's pull it up. All right, so this is Afterlife. Let me bring it over for y'all. Something's missing from inside of me. Someone stole what wasn't mine. The devil told me you were good for me. My mother told me he would lie. What doesn't kill you waits for later. What tries to keep you alive fails. I thought a girl would make me happy. Real love is not for sale. So I'll buy what I can as I try to pretend something else is making me cry. When you cross the line, I'm still by your side. I crossed it with you. And when I die, you're holding the knife. I'll love you from the afterlife. From the afterlife, from the afterlife. I'll love you from the afterlife, from the afterlife. What good is walking on water with a sinking feeling? What good is a kiss without meaning? It won't stop me from bleeding, but I'll buy what I can as I try to pretend Something else is making me cry. When you cross the line, I'm still by your side. I crossed it with you. And when I die, you're holding the knife. I'll love you from the afterlife. From the afterlife. From the afterlife. I'll love you from the afterlife. So that is the song that he is performing here. Those are the lyrics. All right. Let me zoom in for y'all to see that he's crying. Let me make it big so that y'all can see that when he's crying. All right. So you can see he puts his head down and he is crying. All right. So let's go back to Steve's timeline that he has available on his website. All right. So it says on TikTok, he tweeted or he posted, it says, "Mine is friend again. Say it back. A ghost, to be honest. David Music." On April 26th, he had a live appearance at Band Lab, and it was pop-up day 2 for this creator workshop and Q&A. It says, Wither Instagram reel of the previous evening's Afterlife debut surfaces and goes viral. This is the post most online aggregators tag with the April 26th date, but the underlying performance occurred April 25th, the day prior. So it says on April 27th, he traveled from New York to Houston, which he had an evening hometown show. He had a live appearance for a headline album release show. And it says this was held at White Oak Music Hall in Houston, Texas. And it says that it says concurrent NYC Pop-Up Day 3 hosts live stream watch party of the Houston show. And it says he had two posts that he posted on his TikTok account. On April 28th, it says he traveled from Houston to New York for the next day for a Brooklyn show. And he didn't post anything on April 28th. It says on April 29th, he had a live appearance at the Brooklyn Steel Show. And at that show, his family was on stage. It says the show is not on the published Withered tour calendar, appears to be a release the week one off. And it says he had a post on TikTok from his own account. And it says for own account TikTok post on April 30th. Now from May 1st to May 4th, he has nothing on social media, no posts, no nothing. So they're alleging that after he did these pop-ups, these appearances, he went offline for these days. And then the day that the prosecutors alleged that her body was dismembered, they're alleging that it happened on Cinco de Mayo. All right. So it says the prosecutors allege Celeste's body was mutilated on or about this date, Cinco de Mayo, in LA. And on May 5th, there was a story post that he posted on May 5th. And you can see he took a photo of it says the Instagram story posted at 11 p.m. May 5th, and it shows downtown LA. All right. So it says that the photo is of 2 skateboards, Kirby and Hello Kitty decks at a night market, and it's geolocated to downtown Los Angeles. The food truck reading Bandit, visible in the frame, posted the same day. Prosecutors have alleged that her body was mutilated. So this food truck that says Bandit in the background. I guess on this same date, they were in fact in this area. So they're saying, hey, he was here. He was in downtown LA, allegedly around this time where she allegedly was to be cut up. All right. So then it says on May 6th, there's no public appearance or any record of anything posted on social media. On May 7th, he posted something on his TikTok. On May 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, there is no post that he can find. And then on May 12th, it says that there was 2 posts on TikTok. On May 13th, there was, it says Tape Notes podcast episode 155 with David was published, but the recording date is unknown. And it says on TikTok, he posted, sorry, Mom, for posting your fall, but this is too funny. I love you. So this was, I guess, allegedly a video of his mother. On May 14th, there was no post that they could find. May 15th, it says he traveled from the U.S. to Seoul, Korea. And he was required to be in the country by May 21st. So he was in Korea from basically the 15th to the past the 21st. So on the 21st, he had a live appearance in Seoul, Korea, where he was performing his song. And on Instagram, he posted up a post that was a reel of him performing in Seoul, Korea. May 22nd, there was a countdown. It says M countdown to M Net Seoul. And then he performs Is This Really Love? And then on TikTok, he posted I Met Boy Next Door and some other people, some K-pop people. This is what he posted. So this is the timeline that the investigator has developed so far. He has a phone number on the website for anybody who has, I guess, any tips or any more information. That is this number here. I guess this is his tip line. And he has, you know, different blogs and everything. So this investigator has been on it, okay? He has been on it. He had basically also found things at the resident that the other officers did not find. And he has been keeping people up to date on the goings-ons. It says, let's see. So it says, these are the charging documents. Let's read the charging documents. All right, let me pull up the charging documents for you guys. This Steve is going to be your go-to source of information in this case, right? So, like I said, he has been posting timelines. He's posting the documents. He's posting things that you can pretty much go down the rabbit hole and find. And he is on Twitter, so definitely go follow him because he is going to be your day-to-day source for the people who want to keep up with this case and be in the know and know firsthand the information. His Twitter is SF_investigates. A very, very key person to follow in the murder of Celeste. All right. So this is the charging documents right here. Let me save this image so that I can make it bigger. All right. So on these documents, it says this is the Superior Court of the State of California for Los Angeles, the people of the state of California versus David Anthony Burke. And let's read what the contents say. It says, count 1. On or about April 23rd, 2025, in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187, a felony was committed by David Anthony Burke, who did unlawfully and with malice aforethought murder Celeste Rivas, a human being. Notice the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code 1192.7 and a violent felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 667.5. Upon a felony conviction for the above offense, prison custody time is to be served in the state prison based upon the above felony offense being a serious felony defined in Penal Code blah, 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 and or violent felony defined in Penal Code blah, blah, blah. And they want to require that he registered as an SO. All right. It is further alleged that the murder of Celeste was intentional and was carried out by the defendant, David Burke, for financial gain. Hold on. Can you guys see the whole thing? Let me bring it up. All right. So it says, it is further alleged that the murder of Celeste Rivas was intentional and was carried out by the defendant, David Anthony Burke, for financial gain within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A1. It is further alleged that pursuant to Penal Code Section PC 190.2, that Celeste was a witness to a crime and was intentionally killed because of that fact. It is further alleged that the murder of Celeste was committed by David Anthony Burke and that the defendant intentionally killed the victim by means of lying in wait within the meaning of Penal Code 190.2, A, Section 15. Let's go to the next one. All right. Let me download this so that I can see it. Let me bring it down some. All right, so it says, it is further alleged that in the commission and attempted commission of the above offense, the said defendant, David Anthony Burke, personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon or weapons to, with sharp instruments said use not being an element of the above offense within the meaning of Penal Code Section blah, 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 and causing the above offense to be a serious felony within the meaning of this penal code. All right, so count 2 that he's being charged, it says, on or between September 7th, 2023 and September 7th, 2024, in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of continuous SA happened, which is a felony that was committed by David Anthony Burke, who did unlawfully engage in 3 or more acts of substantial S conduct as defined in Penal Code Section blah, 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 and 3 or more lewd and lascivious acts as defined in Penal Code Section 288 with Celeste, a child under the age of 14 years, while the defendant resided with and had recurring access to her. It says, notice, the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code 1192.7 Section C and a violent felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 667.5 Section C. All right. Let me bring this up some so that y'all can see what I see. It says, okay, so it says, notice, conviction of this offense will require you to register as a SA of this crime. Conviction of this offense will require the court order for you to submit to a blood test for evidence of antibodies to probable causative agent of acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. And it says, they got to check if he got AIDS. All right. Notice, being charged with this criminal offense can result in mandatory pre-conviction HIV/AIDS testing and disclosure of results to a victim. Do they think he gave her that? Or is this standard? I'm not sure that I've seen that before. Is that standard on all child cases? I'm not sure that I've seen that before. Y'all let me know. I don't want to get to Googling certain stuff, but is somebody who knows, let me know. Somebody said that's standard. Okay, you guys are saying, some people are saying that it's not standard, and some people are saying that it is standard. Okay, I've never heard it before, but I guess maybe it's standard. All right. So, upon a felony conviction for the above offense, prison custody time is to be served in the state prison based upon the above felony offense being a serious felony defined in Penal Code Section 1192. All right. So, let's go to the next one, which is count 3. All right, so this is count 3. It says, on or about May 5th, 2025, in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of unlawful mutilation of human remains in violation of Health and Safety Code Section 7052, a felony was committed by David Anthony Burke, who did willfully and unlawfully mutilate remains known to be human, specifically the remains of Celeste. It says, notice upon a felony conviction for the above offense, prison custody time is to be served in state prison. So these are the charging documents of his arrest. And they're stating that he would have to register as an S offender. They're stating that he would also be possibly up against the death penalty. Now, if you guys know anything about California, California is one of the states that allows the death penalty, but right now there is a hold or a pause. So there is the possibility that if they unpause the death penalty, then he could be put to death. But right now, they have paused all of that. I forget the name of it. Let me look up the exact name. It's something with the M. What is it called in California where they pause the death penalty? It's called something with the M. A moratorium. All right. So it says the pause of the death penalty in California is called a moratorium. It was ordered by Gavin Newsom in March of 2019. This is an executive action that halted all executions for now. All right. So it says that the execution chamber at San Quentin State Prison and withdrew the state's lethal injection protocols while leaving convictions and sentences in place. So it prohibits the state from carrying out executions while the order is active. So like I said, they're saying that he can be facing the death penalty, but right now there's a pause. Now, if there is a new governor that later replaces Newsom and they overturn this moratorium, then they're saying, listen, you could be put to death, but we're still putting it on the table. And if that's your fate later, that's your fate later. But as it stands right now, he can't actually be put to death for real, for real. But it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Let me see if there is anything else I wanted to go over. Let's see. Yeah, so Steve has been keeping up with everything. He has been keeping up with everything. All right, let's look through his page some more. It says April 23rd, 2025 is the date detectives have zeroed in the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Just 2 days earlier, David announced that pre-sale tickets for the Ritter tour would go on sale April 23rd. So this is the tweet that he referenced, and it says, let's see what else. He's posting his inmate. He's posting everything, child. Any and everything. David was arrested by complaint, not indictment, and the case will be submitted to the DA's office. Okay. So, yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, I just wanted to basically go over some of the new findings. It looks like he also did a live, he could be live right now. I'm not even sure. But he did a live tonight. I'm going to have to check that out, and whatever I figure out from there, we will definitely talk about. But yeah, there was a lot of people who were hitting me up, and they were like, "Neat girl, what's tea? What's going on? What's happening?" Yesterday, I wasn't feeling good. Okay, yesterday, I don't know, I don't know if I had like a sinus headache or what, but there was like pressure above my eye, and like my neck was just kind of like, I don't know. I was not in the mood to get on camera and do any commentary, but everybody was hitting me up like, "Girl, what's tea? What's tea? Let us know what's happening." So I came to y'all as early as I could. Now, I seen a comment earlier in the stream, and somebody has said, I glanced over at it, but I wasn't, I was busy like talking about other stuff, so I didn't stop and speak on it. But somebody said, Neek, why are you not covering this case in person versus you went to the Diddy trial, but you're not going to this one, and this one is more important? Because that's just my decision, you know. I decided that I wasn't going to do it, and I'm just going to stick to that. Simple as that. I do plan on covering things more consistently. So as there are updates and, you know, the case, I will be keeping you guys up to date on things that's going on. So I'm not saying that I'm not going to cover it. I'm just not about to fight with, I just don't feel like it for this case. Like, there's going to be child images that's going to be revealed. There's going to be, you know, there's 40 terabytes of evidence. There's going to be images of graphic nature of children. I don't know. That's just my choice. You know, everybody has choices. This is mine. But I will be up to date. In order to cover certain cases, like, you have to, number one, consider the nature of the case. You have to consider, is this something that you want permanently burned in your mind? And then number two, is it going to be worth it? Like, if I get up at the crack of dawn, I don't live in LA. I live outside of LA. So I live within distance that I can get there. And I mean, I can, if I need to, instead of traveling from here to there every day, I could rent a hotel. But I feel like if I'm going to cover a case, and if I rent a hotel and have to go through all of that, I prefer to, I just don't. want to. You know, I just don't. But like I said, I will be keeping you guys up to date. Now, in other news, there is a documentary that's going to be hitting the streets soon. Did y'all hear? Let's talk about it. Hopefully they don't flag me. But people was tagging me up in this new documentary that's about to come out next week. And they like, Neek, did you know? Did you know? And I'm just like, child, did I know? I don't know. Let's see. Did we know about it? Child, it's a new documentary that's about to be hitting Hulu. Did I know about it? Did I? Let's see. I don't know if they're gonna flag it, but
You want to know what I've been doing for the last 4 years? I was in a cult, man. Who am I?
Nature boy.
Nature boy.
Nature boy.
We wanted to trust him in everything he did. He was king, he was God.
You know this is not how life's supposed to be.
There's a Nature Boy documentary that's going to be posted in a 4-part series on Tuesday, April 28th. It's going to be streaming on Hulu and Disney Plus. Now, what I did see was there was footage from content creators that they flashed on the screen. Now, I didn't see myself, but maybe we should do a watch party and see how it turns out. I don't know. But yes, I am aware of the documentary. It is going to stream next week, and maybe we'll do a watch party and watch it.
He would preach, go
But they did flash some content creators across the screen. You know what I mean?
into nature and get in tune with the planet.
It was clear you wanted to build a following.
Is this thing working? My inbox jam-packed with the one question, how do I join?
There were a ton.
All right, so the woman who just started talking right now, that was the YouTuber, The T. She was a person that heavily covered the case as well. So that was her speaking just now.
A lot of people coming from all over the world. It seemed like what he had was a utopia.
I was just super excited where Nature Boy is. That's where I'll find my truth.
I just got on the flight.
All right, I don't want to play too much because I probably already played too much. But anyways, I think we should definitely do a watch party and watch it and see what's all in it. You know, what's all in it? What are they? What all do they cover? What all do they go over? How in depth are they in the story of Nature Boy? As you guys know, I cover Nature Boy a lot on this channel, and we'll see what happens in the documentary. What else? Oh, so I did ask y'all about a show. I asked y'all, was y'all watching the show? Hold on, let me what is the name? Hold on, wait. Let me see something real quick. And did y'all hit the like button? Because it don't look like the likes is liking. It don't look like the likes is matching up to the viewers, and I don't like that. I do not like that at all. So I am a person who loves to watch TV shows. It's one of my favorite pastimes of watching TV shows and things like that. Now, Kerry Washington is a great, amazing actress. And not only is this latest TV show with Kerry Washington, but also, you guys, if you guys watch Handmaid's Tales, the main character who was in the Handmaid's Tales, she's in it. Kerry Washington is in it. It's called Imperfect Women. Now, I don't normally do reviews for shows, but this show has been having so many twists and turns and different plots that are all happening that we might have to talk about it. Now, this show is not on Netflix. It's on Apple TV. So you do have to either have one of those sites that's going to boost the, the stream, or Apple TV in order to watch it. But, hold on. This is the show right here. Let me read to you guys the synopsis. 1 second. All right. So, Imperfect Women is a TV show that dropped this year, 2026. It's on Apple TV, and it is a thriller series that is adapted from a book. So it was a book turned TV show, and it explores the fractured decades-long friendship of three women played by Elizabeth Moss, Kerry Washington, and Kate Mara. After the shocking murder of one of them, the show delves into secrets, envy, and the pressure for perfection, highlighting how the investigation ruins their lives. It says the premise of the story follows Eleanor, Mary, and Nancy, whose close bond is shattered when Nancy is found murdered, sparking a desperate investigation that uncovers dark secrets about their lives. It says the series and novel are known for exploring the same events through different viewpoints, showing how memory and loyalty affect the truth of the narrative. It says the narrative focuses on the pressures of marriage, motherhood, and the gap between public and private personas. Characters often make questionable, messy choices, making them imperfect rather than villains or saints. It says the show is created by Annie Wiseman, and it stars the three ladies that I already told you guys. And it is a plot twist after plot twist after plot twist in this show. It has these three ladies who are supposed to be best friends, right? And the woman right here, she passes away. So early on, you see how there's all of these different dynamics within the friend groups. You see that there's jealousy, envy. You see that there is backdoor activity and so much more. I don't want to give it away, but we may have to revisit this and dive into it a little bit more, because it shows how on the surface, people could be one thing. You can think that they have this tight bond, but if you peel back the layers, you see how there's envy, deceit, all of this deception and so on and so forth. And I'm like, Carrie, why you had to be the one who they start off showing that you doing a little something, but then they flip it, the other lady doing a little something. It's a lot. So we may go into this a lot more. You said, Neek, you should interview the T. Yes, possible. I mean, that would be a good interview to interview her. She is definitely one of the big instrumental people in the Nature Boy saga. But I think the documentary will have a lot from her also. They interviewed her in the documentary. She's going to be in there, and she's going to be speaking about her perspective and stuff like that. Yeah. So I didn't want to yes. Yeah. It's a really good show. It's a really good show. It's one of those shows to where you think you got the answer, and then there's a plot twist. And then you think you got it figured out, and then there's another plot twist. And then you're like, wait a minute, is it this person? Is it that person? So the last episode, they left on a cliffhanger, and like everybody that they build up to be the villain. Let's see if there's anything else for us to go over really quickly. And have y'all hit the like button. Let me know. Now, this was sent to me as well. We'll talk about it. And who's still watching? Because the chat don't look like it's, let's see, who's all watching? Oh, okay, still a good amount of y'all. I'm like, y'all must really just be listening or whatever. Y'all ain't typing nothing in the chat, but it's still a lot of y'all. All right. If y'all sleepy, then just say that, because baby, we'll just carry on tomorrow with the topics. Is y'all there? Is y'all here? What's going on? Somebody said, I'm here. Okay, I'm here quietly. Okay, I know that's right. They said, we here. Hit the like button and quit playing. Like, quit playing. Yeah, okay, I see y'all still here, because I'm like, true. Somebody said I'm working and listening. Okay, well, make it make sense. Make it make sense, because I'm like, child, am I talking to myself? Anyways, all right, so this was sent to me by one of my subs that be trying to send me all the stuff that got to do with LGBT, be wanting me to cover it. I said, ooh, you messy, but child, let's talk about it. All right, so this mother is upset at the dean at her son's school because she feels like he publicly humiliated her son by making him hug and hold hands with another boy in front of the whole school as punishment. All right, and this is her response.
So an incident happened Monday concerning my 12-year-old son, where his dean called himself bullying my kid and made him do some inappropriate stuff that I went up to the school yesterday and lost my shit. Okay, first of all, my son was play fighting in the lunchroom with one of his friends. And as a result of that, the dean thought it was appropriate to make my son hold hands with the young man that he was play fighting with, and threatened him with suspension if he didn't hold hands and stand in front of a lunchroom full of students. Swing hands together. He then proceeded to make my son face the young man, hold their hands like this while they looked at each other, while other students laughed and ridiculed my kid, talk about y'all make a cute couple. He then made my son and the young man walk hands. He then proceeded to tell my son and his friend to walk up to the second floor, hand in hand, and walk through the hallway on their way to class. If anybody was to say his name or his friend's name, he had to turn around and hug this young man every time somebody was to say their name. I don't know what type of homosexual stuff you are on, or why you feel as though as a grown-ass man you want to see two young men lock hands and walk down the hallway, but the way you humiliated my child, I'm going to make it a point to humiliate you every chance I get. I'm going to bully the shit out of you, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. I'm going to make you pay for the same way you made my son feel. I'm going to make you feel every chance I get. That's why in front of all the students yesterday, I called you all types of bitch-ass niggas, because that's what the fuck you are. Aside from me bullying you, I'm going to go to the furthest extent of the law to make sure that you understand that you shouldn't be working with children.
All right. So partway through her speaking, her sound kind of went low. That wasn't me. That was her putting her hand over the thing. Number one, she claims that they were play fighting. I wasn't there. I'm just listening to her account. I haven't heard the dean or whoever, but something tells me that it wasn't just a play fight. That, because if they were just play fighting, right? Because the play fight means that we're both playing. We're both playing and we're both like horsing around. Something tells me that it wasn't a play fight. It seems like it may have started maybe as a play fight, but somebody in play fights, we know that play fights turn to real fights, and somebody on the other end of it got mad or whatever, and it was getting heated, and to resolve it, he made them hold hands like that. To me, that's something that I've always seen growing up as Like when two kids are fighting or they're horsing around or they're like, you know, you have like siblings, right? And the siblings will be like constantly bickering at each other or constantly like getting into it and or picking at each other. And parents will normally like make them hug or hold hands to kind of get them to get along. I don't really see it as homosexual as she's trying to say. But again, I'm not there. I only get her account of it. To me, I don't really see that at two boys, 12 years old. Like, you know, I don't, because that, how she's labeling as, oh, they were just play fighting, but he made them hold hands. I don't see why they would have to hold hands if they're play fighting. I don't know. But according to her, she feels as though it was, you know, him, you know, he shouldn't be around kids. He's doing something that is considered homosexual. And everybody has different viewpoints of what they find to be that. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that it's inappropriate for the dean to make 12-year-old boys hold hands after play fighting? And do you think that that is making them do a certain type of act that is inappropriate? Let's look at what some of the comments have to say, and let's read this. It says, Lizzie says her son was play fighting with a friend, and as punishment, the dean made him face the other boy and hold hands with each other in front of the lunchroom full of other students. After the students told the boys they made a cute couple, the dean then made them walk the halls hand in hand and hug each other anytime either of their names were mentioned. Lizzie says she now plans to humiliate the dean every chance she gets and take legal action. She did admit to cursing him out publicly in response to his actions. She also notes that the incident is part of the reason children grow to not respect authority. All right, so let's read some of the comments. It says, just remember, ladies and gentlemen, she is allowed to feel the way she feels about anything when it comes to her son. Let's see some of the replies. Somebody said, and we allowed to judge her. All right. Another person says, and her feelings are invalid. Another person says, what? So she can claim something is gay when it's not because it's her son? Nah. Another person says, yes, keyword her son. And then another person says, and we are allowed to call her stupid and invalidate her feelings. Another person says, basically, the dean says, since y'all can't keep y'all hands off each other, here you go, hold hands. Which, to me, that's kind of what it sounds like. You know, this is what it sounds like. It sounds like an old school way of getting them to cut it out. Like, you know, but let's listen. Somebody said, it's given when you play fight with your cousin or siblings, now y'all have to hug it out and get along. Another person says, parents making excuses for this are wild. That's not his child and that's not his sibling. The fuck? And then another person says, I understand where you're coming from. Another person says, there's absolutely nothing sexual about this, and it's weird that she tried to make it out to be that. This was clearly a y'all want to act like enemies, I'ma force y'all to stick together type of thing. Another person says, I would have just gotten suspended. Another person says, she's not tweaking. The dean could have made the boys do push-ups or some. Come on now. And then somebody replied, or a handshake, LOL. And then another person says, hold on. She isn't sexualizing holding hands. The problem is a grown man demanding two little boys walk doing something that they are not comfortable doing. Not only that, they are walking around humiliated and uncomfortable. If I was the mother of that little boy, I would feel the exact way. If kids are saying that they will make a good couple, don't you think that would make him feel uncomfortable? I swear y'all pick and choose what to hear. Do we not remember what it was like being in school? Did you not hear her repeat what other kids were saying about her child? No? Oh, okay then. All right. And then somebody said, kids are made to do many things they don't want to do. How is this too far? Another person says, they teenagers, ish is unacceptable. Put them in detention. Stop forcing teenagers to hand because they playing. Another person says, I don't know why y'all think this is weird. Then she proceeds to bully someone like, what sense does this make over holding hands? She is the problem. These accusations she's making are ridiculous. Back then, it was an acceptable punishment. Y'all always offended about everything and never ashamed. They should have expelled her son. Another person says a 12-year-old is a teenager, ? Just curious. And then the main person, they replied and said, kids aren't made to be treated in such ways where their emotions are being overlooked. Just because you're an adult and they're a kid, you're telling me that you will ignore the feelings of your child before your own grace because they were made not to have emotions. Children are shown discipline and that's okay, but sometimes the way that it is delivered is not the right way. The dean could have done something different in which did not humiliate the child. If you look on the woman's page, she said that they were slap boxing and that's not fighting. They could have been a different approach to the situation. Now, I'm not going to negate the fact that it could have been a different approach. I think that, this isn't the only approach that he could have taken. He could have sent them to detention. He could have taken a different approach. And I do agree that if the kids are saying they make a cute couple, that is something that, clearly a boy would be uncomfortable with or whatever. So I'm not going to negate that. I just don't think initially it didn't sound like a homo thing. Like, it sounds like in hindsight, yes, something could have been different, but it sounded old school to me. But I'm not negating, could he have tried other means? Yes. Could he have sent them to detention? Yes. Could he have done other things? Yes. But, another person says, the comments are shocking me because I'm seeing that some of y'all are okay with his choice of discipline as a black boy mom. This would have pissed me off too. What does being a black boy mom mean? Like, why does black, like, why does she emphasize black boy mom? It says he emasculated these boys and tried to humiliate them amongst their peers. She's out here trying to raise a confident young man, I'm assuming, and you got grown men pushing homosexuality onto him. Another person says, I'm a boy mom and I'm absolutely with her on this one. My son would have never did it, period, and he would have to have them call me immediately. Another person says, holding hands is not sexual, ? What the F? I would hate to be a straight man. Another person says, you can actually report this as child abuse. They will investigate it because anytime you force children to touch each other and they're not comfortable with that touch, it is child abuse and a violation of their rights. Remember, any touch that a child is uncomfortable with is inappropriate and abuse. Somebody said, whoopings too, ? Good. These kids are living the dream. That's why they stealing cars and shit. They have too many rights. Another person says, children have too many rights, ? So what rights should be taken away from them? And you should want your children living the dream, but I guess you think they should be living in hell instead. Another person says, sure, whipping, LOL. That's a charge, child abuse, especially if they going to school with marks. Oh, shoot. She said, exactly. I feel so bad for some kids. Their parents see them as little slaves that have no rights. Another person says, what rights do kids have? Only right they have is to do what their parents say. A kid doesn't run nothing. Why didn't his daddy go deal with this? Men, please get involved. Now, I'm not a parent that thinks that my child doesn't have like a voice. So I'm not one of those ones that feel like a child is just like, obviously do as I say, because I'm not playing, but I do take my child's voice into consideration too. Like, I'm not one of those parents that think that, their feelings are invalid or what they think or feel or, their emotions. I don't invalidate emotions. Like, that is considered, but still, you're going to do right from wrong and you're going to obey what I say, but it is not going to be one of those, you know, situations where a parent just don't consider their kids' feelings at all and just, you know. So, but yeah. So someone says, I don't know about the homosexual, but it was definitely inappropriate and humiliating. Another person says, these comments justifying the dean lets me know how doomed we are. Another person says, just remember, ladies and gentlemen, she is allowed. Oh, okay, they start. I hate when the comments start to repeat. But anyways, so this was something that was sent to me, and it had a lot of people speaking about it. But you guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you feel like it was along the lines of child abuse? And do you agree or disagree with the mom? Let me know what you guys think. Let me see if there's anything else going on that we want to talk about before we get out of here. And I don't know why I've been so stuffy lately. Let's see. Oh, that was a story where a girl was dancing on her op grave. Crazy work. What else? Oh, Janet Jackson's not gonna be in the Michael Jackson's movie. And neither is Diana Ross. Child, interesting. A lot of people commenting on Chris Brown. Child, we'll cover more topics in another live. But I just wanted to come touch bases with y'all, speak to y'all about some things. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Thank y'all for watching. If you guys have not hit that subscribe button, definitely hit the subscribe button. And what is your thoughts about all of the things that we talked about? What is your thoughts about David and Celeste? What is your thoughts about the woman and her child? And what is your thoughts about Brian McKnight? Let me know down below. I'll talk to you guys on the next video.